how's your war chest? Because obviously we have been quite lightly affected by this overall. We haven't been anywhere near the situation as the UK has been. Therefore, are you okay? I mean, you don't need any more money from the reserves or anything like that?
No, I mean, we're well prepared. I think we did that last July. We made sure that we had the right funding levels in place if we needed to. We got that extra £250 million available to us. And, you know, I'll be updating Tim Waters to the projected state of the finances in literally 4 weeks' time when we get to the budget. Now, we're still in a good position. But, you know, we can't be complacent about anything at the moment. You know, we're dealing with a very serious health crisis, but we're also dealing with potentially a very, very serious economic crisis as well. And, you know, it would be foolish of us not to pay attention to our spending levels and the commitments that we are making in terms of keeping the economy going here on the island. And ensuring that we are doing that in a reasonable, sensible way, and that you know, looking ahead into the next 12 months, I can tell you now, you know, it's not going to be a glamorous budget that we're going to be delivering in February. It's going to be very much a budget that focuses on doing the right things and spending in the right areas. But we're not going to be embarking on any new projects or new schemes.
So tax rises, is that code there slightly that we should be ready to see some increase in taxes?
No, absolutely not, Paul. I mean, you really do need to be solid in these circumstances. It's not the right time to be talking about taxation. And you know, I can tell you in long discussions have taken place in Treasury about what we need to do. And absolutely, we're going to need to be solid. A solid budget will need to be delivered this year that covers all our bases, make sure we've got proper allowances for any emergencies, that we're going to pick up the pieces from the contingency spending that we've done this year, make sure we've got that properly catered for next year, and that we give everybody a platform for understanding but confidence also in terms of public finances and in the island's economy.
What's the frustration in Comyn that you obviously have the economic hat on? I mean, all work like on the promenade, things like that, which some people think could possibly continue with social distancing in place. Is that frustrating to have a complete shutdown? Are you pushing to get people back to work? I mean, you see the unemployment numbers, obviously. What's your feeling?
No, absolutely. Look, we're completely united. You know, even in the last lockdown, you know, Treasury, myself, DFE, Lawrence Skelly, you know, we're all adamant that actually the way to deal with this is to almost go in overly hard, if you like, right at the very beginning. You know, stitch in time saves 9, and you know, my belief is that if you deal with this virus hard, even though it's painful and it causes a lot of concern for a couple of weeks, in the end, if we can get the economy back up running and running successfully, without limitations, without restrictions, then really that strategy will pay dividends. So I would say to everybody, I know it is painful, I know it's frustrating, you know, but just bear with us for another, you know, week, 10 days, 2 weeks. If we can get this as a community under control, you know, we can get people back to work, and we can get living again, and we can get incomes coming in again, and we can get ourselves into a much better position.
And there's a difference here, of course, because there is technically some light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccination, which do you take on board? There's still concern that people think it's too slow, not quick enough, this whole rollout?
I understand the frustrations. I think we're all frustrated. Everybody wants a vaccination tomorrow. But, you know, there are a number of limitations that we are dealing with on the island. I think the health minister has tried to explain those. But, you know, whilst we have a schedule that's been mapped out with the UK, as you'll read in the UK press, it's not that easy to meet all the promises in terms of the delivery schedules at the moment. You know, and the health minister's, you know, given us all the assurances that we will soon be up to speed and level with the UK, if not ahead, on a per capita basis. and I'm sure that will be the case in due course.
You must be slightly frustrated though, because if more testing had been done and testing on the 13th day or whatever had been in place earlier, we may not even be in this situation.
Well, that's just too hard to say, Paul. I mean, I think the change in the nature of the virus has caused significant problems and significant headaches, and even with the rigorous testing, there's still potential gaps in the system where that virus might get through. Nothing is ever 100% guaranteed. I don't think it really, looking back at this stage and making regrets or hindsight is the right approach. We've got to deal with the situation in front of us. We've got to stay positive. We've almost got to dig in, if you like, now, and really push for the line. And do you know what I mean? Once we get over that line, once we get back to some sort of normality, and fingers crossed, like everybody else, that will be at some point this year, or maybe hopefully in the late spring, summer. But we can then start to look back and pick up the pieces. But it's not my job now to deal with the what ifs. I think I've got to keep focused on pushing ahead and doing what's right for everybody at home now, trying to get financial support out there, trying to get it right, and also making sure that we're planning properly for future investments in the economy.
And what are you doing for people who may be having to pay their big tax bills at the moment, because that's up and running, and VAT time? How sympathetic are you going to be?
We've been sympathetic all the way through this crisis. I think it's been one of the planks that we've said, look, if businesses are struggling, come and talk to us. If individuals are struggling, come and talk to us. And we will work through that with you and try and find the arrangements that are going to be right for you and right for us, and to get things sorted out.
But see somebody, if there's a problem, they should contact the tax office. If people fall through the cracks, of course, the Manx Solidarity Fund is there, but that's obviously should be the last resort. Or are you recommending people do approach that sort of organisation if they're finding things difficult?
Well, first of all, I think it's always difficult sometimes, particularly for individuals who are running into trouble and perhaps haven't been before, to talk. But I really do urge people just to pick up the phone, explain the situation to whether it's the tax authority or the VAT office or even Social Security. And I very much hope and trust in the professionalism of our officers across the board to work with individuals to find the right solutions for them if they've got payment issues. And of course, we're doing our very, very best to try and give enough support out to everybody so that the basics are covered. I mean, I welcome the community spirit. I'm very pleased with what the Manx Solidarity Fund has chosen to do, as I am with all our charities, and acknowledge everybody in the community who is really pulling out the stops to cover the gaps and the cracks that sometimes government just can't cover. And so we should all be thankful. And yes, I mean, if people have to use these charities, there's absolutely no shame in that at this current time. And the community, as I said, should be incredibly proud of the way they've gone about their business and dealing with some of these issues. Okay,
well, finally, if this is it, because with the vaccination coming along, if this is a final lockdown, which, let's face it, could be extended. I should ask you that. I mean, it will clearly be extended. You think that as well?
Well, no. I'm not going to be. Look, I'm optimistic, Paul. I have to be optimistic that the action that we have taken will be the right action to ensure that we can extricate ourselves from the threat that was presenting itself with the clustered outbreaks that we were getting. Look, if that optimism doesn't come forward and pay dividends in the next couple of weeks, then clearly we're going to have to review the situation, and we will try and work through that. It's just one of those things that you just can't plan almost for every eventuality here.
Okay.
But I'm optimistic. We've taken a pretty tough decision. That is a decision that impacts on many people across the island. Let's just work with that and trust that it is going to enable us to more quickly than not get people back to some sort of normality.
Okay, so to finish my question now, what I was going to say was, if this is it and this lockdown is just for the 3-week period, how much money will that cost the taxpayer? How many millions pounds?
Well, I think we set out last week as saying that MIRA and salary support alone could cost sort of £8 to £10 million. The additional support that we've brought forward today is probably going to be at least another £4 million. So, 14 to 16 million pounds, possibly, once we've added one or two other bits and pieces in, I think will probably be a fair enough analysis of where we're likely to end up if we can get this sorted out in a reasonable time frame.
And you can cash those cheques without having to go to the reserves or the special funding you'd put in place the first time round?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as it currently stands, we've got well planned finances. We have planned, we have got funding available for these types of eventualities. So, as it stands at the moment, we're well in control of the public financial situation.